Good morning. Okay, so Mr. Leonard said y'all were struggling with some of the factoring, so I wanted to make sure I go over some of them with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I can add a sheet. Let's see. We'll do this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over some of these problems with you. So go ahead and look at the paper from yesterday, and let's look at number 1. Number 1 says 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. So we're going to try number 1. Okay, so 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. Because this one's already set equal to 0, we can go ahead and start factoring it. We need to identify a, b, and c though. This one doesn't have an x term, so that means 4 is our a, negative 9 is our c, and because there's no x term in the middle, our b is going to be 0. So we're going to go ahead and make our cross puzzle and put 0 at the top. We want to find two factors that add to 0 and multiply 2. We have to do our a times c, and that goes down here. So 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. So we need to find our factors of negative 36. We know 1 and 36 works, right? 1 times negative 36. But are those going to add to 0? No. What about 2 and what would that be? 8? 18? 2 and 18, would those add to 0 in any way? 3 and 12? Would those add to 0? What about 4 and 9? There's no way those add to 0. 5 doesn't work because 5 times something wouldn't give you 36. You'd have to have a decimal. We don't want a decimal. What about 6? 6 times 6 is 36. Is there a way to make 0 from 6 and 6? Yeah, if one of them was negative, right? Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. So there's our factors, negative 6 and positive 6. So we're going to go ahead and write them as x minus 6 times x plus 6 equals 0. Now we have to divide by a. So what is negative 6 divided by 4? That reduces to, that's going to reduce to negative 3 over 2, right? Same thing on this side. But it'll be a positive 3 over 2. We can't leave it like that, so we take the bottom number and we move it up in front of the x because we can't leave fractions here. So we end up with 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now we have to set each one of those equal to 0. So I'm going to take this one, 2x minus 3, and set it equal to 0, and then solve for x. I'd add 3 on both sides, and I'd end up with 2x equals 3, and then we would divide by 2 on both sides. We would get x equals 3 over 2. Okay, then we would do the other one. 2x plus 3 equals 0. Same steps, except we would subtract 3 this time. Oops, I forgot to put a line there. So we get 2x equals negative 3. Then we would divide by 2 again. And we would get x equals negative 3 over 2. All right, so those are our x-intercepts. Now, if you look at, and our solutions, if you look at your answer choices, do you see how they're in brackets? When it's in brackets like that, that means it's a list. When it's in parentheses, that's an ordered pair. So which one has 3 over 2 and negative 3 over 2? Yeah, it would be this one right here. So whatever color you chose, your answer is going to be D. All right, so let's look at another one. Let's look at number 6. If you look at number 6, it's got x squared plus 3x minus 12 equals negative 2. So we're going to I'm going to add another page, and we're going to look at number 6. We said x squared plus 3x minus 12 equals negative 2. Okay, we can't factor this until it's set equal to 0. So we need to move this, we need to get this minus 2, this negative 2, as 0. What's the opposite of negative 2? Positive 2. So you're going to add 2 to both sides. Nothing else changes. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. And now on this side, we have 0. I like to put a z through it for 0, and we're going to write a 0 right there. And now you factor just like we were before. Make your cross puzzle. Identify your A, B, and C. So B is 3. A times C, that'd be negative 10. And then go through your factors. That would be, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Our factors would be 1 and negative 10, or negative 1 and 10. That's not going to give us 3. What about 2 and negative 5? Will that give us 3? What about negative 2 and positive 5? Yeah, those two would add up to 3. So our factors are going to be x minus 2 times x plus 5 equals 0. If we divide by our a value is 1, so that's not going to change anything. And now we set them equal to 0 separately and solve for x, and that's our solutions. So x minus 2 equals 0, we'd add 2 on both sides, and we'd get x equals 2. X plus 5 equals 0, we'd subtract 5 on both sides, and we'd get x equals negative 5. Okay, hopefully that helps. Watch this a couple of times, try it again today, and see if you can get through more of the problems. And if you still need help, we can go over it again on Monday. Just let Mr. Leonard know.